Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. A very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. Are you feeling charitable? Then smash the subscribe button and the like button, and please do follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Man. And welcome to Sunday's edition of the dceu Daily. Wow. Yes, we are reacting to Zack Snyder's Justice Con panel from yesterday. Maybe it was afternoon for you. It was 12:30 in the morning for me, right? Midnight, 30 minutes after midnight for me. It was 10:30 a.m. for those people in the UK. So all those different time zones, some of us had to drink coffee, get the old matchsticks, propping up the eyes, but it was well worth it. It was fantastic. So some of the things that were covered on that were this. Is Zack Snyder's Justice League going to be in movie form or in TV format? Zack just couldn't answer that, and it will be answered at the DC Fandom. So what am I thinking about this? I'm thinking that I think the first kind of version of it will be in a TV episode format, and then I think definitely we will get a movie format. And then apparently he told Grace Randolph, and I don't know how true this is, by the way, because this is Grace Randolph after all, that he's also developing a black and white version of his Justice League movie. And we all remember the noir black and white version of Logan as well, which was actually the best version of the film and the best cut of the film. So bring it on. That would be amazing. Also, he was asked about using Joss Whedon's work, scenes in his Justice League, which I think is the most ridiculous, pathetic question I've ever heard. This was actually a rumour that Zack was going to use some of Joss Whedon's stuff, right? And how did they add 2 and 2 together and get 600? Because Donna had to use some of Lester's footage for Superman 2, the director's cut, because Donna never finished shooting his Superman 2. That's where the justification came from for this rumour in question. Anyway, Zack went kind of Hellraiser and said, I would rather burn my movie than use somebody else's stuff, or something along those lines. So that was kind of funny. Listen, it was never going to happen, was it? And don't worry, Zack ain't burning his movie. He fought very hard for 2.5 years to get this movie done. So, very, very exciting stuff. It was a great panel. He was as frank as he could, and he showed us, as promised, a little clip. Now, the clip we saw is a clip we've already seen with a difference. He walks in, and it's the Alfred scene, Master Kent, that one. Now, originally, when we saw this scene, Superman's wearing his bright blue Boy Scout Superman costume, traditional costume, right? Not in this scene, baby. In this scene, he's wearing black. So how can he be wearing black in the same scene and then wearing blue in the same scene? I don't get it either. I don't understand. Not unless there's some kind of time travel involved in this film. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Or he shot it in blue and black, and he's going to use one of those scenes. I'm assuming the black. We still don't know if Superman's going to have the mullet in this film. I'm starting to have doubts that he won't, which is a shame. But Zack did always say this is not the Doomsday story. This is not the Death of Superman story. And the real Doomsday's still out there as well, which is really awesome. And in that context, he can tell this story any way he wants. So he doesn't have to have the mullet. It would be great. But he's using the black costume, and I think that's important as well. He also said he didn't want Superman just to be, a two-dimensional, big blues Boy Scout. He wanted to have depth. He wanted him to have humanity. He wanted him to be relatable. And I think Zack's Superman is certainly relatable. But I think I can't judge anything I can't judge anything until it's complete. And Zack's Superman arc or DCEU arc is far from being complete. So when it's complete, we can look at it together as a journey and say, did this work? Didn't it work? For me, Man of Steel works as a movie. Batman vs. Superman works as a movie, right? But it's just 2 parts. It's not the completion of the art. So until I've seen the art completed, I can't have a full judgment. And neither can you, by the way. But we can say that BVS is great. we could say that MOS is great. Right, we're going to be reading some articles from this brilliant panel, and I'll be responding to them. It was absolutely massive. I'm glad I stayed up, and it was really awesome. And if this is just the curtain raiser, and don't forget, we've still got DC Fandom on August the 22nd, and a full trailer. What have we got to look forward to? Something amazing. Something that's not covered in any of these articles, which surprises me, is that Zack said that him and Deb left the Justice League film voluntarily, but they did not, I repeat, did not decide on Joss Whedon to take over. Right. Now, legally speaking, Zack Snyder can't go on there and say, listen, they made my life a living hell and that's why we decided to leave. That's why they decided to leave. Now, I'm sure their daughter taking her own life must have factored into this decision. But the truth is, the reason that Zack and Deb left Justice League, right, is because they were forced out. And that's why they decided to leave, right? So no one fired them, but they left. They may as well have fired them because they were forced out. Their lives were made a living hell. He was being told to keep on rewriting the script with Chris Terrio. It was a ridiculous situation. So they drove the man out and then they replaced him with a substandard director. Yes, he is a substandard director. Yes, he did write and direct many episodes of Buffy. He did create Buffy. He did create Angel. And they're great shows. And he did write and direct the first two Avengers movies. I think the first one is better than the second one. But he was fired from Marvel Studios. And we'll never know why, right? And he was a nothing. He was doing nothing until Warner Brothers picked him up for the Justice League reshoots. This wasn't a coup like we thought originally, and I think a lot of us did, right? Us, the detractors I'm talking about. We thought this was positive at first because we genuinely believed that Zack left the project because of his daughter's suicide, and we were okay with that. What decent human being wouldn't be, right? But that's how I translate the situation. So even though they said they voluntarily left, yes, they voluntarily left because at the end of the day, they had very little choice. The movie wasn't going forward because none of the parties could agree. Zack wanted his movie. They didn't want Zack's movie. So they wanted to turn it into an MCU bright and bubbly movie. And they created a horrible situation. And by now, we would have seen all of this. It's like seeing Jared Leto in the Morbius trailer. I just get pissed off when I think of Jared Leto as Morbius because if his Joker was embraced, we already would have seen, David's original vision for the Suicide Squad movie, and also we would have had Harley and the Joker. If Warner Brothers ignored the reaction to his Joker, instead of Birds of Prey, we would have had, Harley and the Joker, right? And maybe, Gotham City Sirens, he would have been involved in that, and maybe he would have been involved properly in Birds of Prey. And he wouldn't be playing Morbius, or maybe he would be, but later down the road. So these are the things, these decisions that were made. And when I see these actors and other projects when they should be with us over at DC, it really pisses me off. So let's read this first article from Screen Rant. Justice League Snyder Cut clip reveals Henry Cavill's black Superman suit. A new Justice League Snyder Cut clip reveals a better look at Henry Cavill's Superman in his black suit, teasing Zack Snyder's vision for the DC movie. By Molly Freeman. The new Justice League Snyder Cut clip reveals a better look at Henry Cavill's Superman in his black suit. Director Zack Snyder was a key figure in the creation of the DC Extended Universe film franchise, helming Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, and Justice League. But Snyder's 5-movie plan for the DCU got cut short when he departed Justice League before reshoots and post-production. As a result, Warner Brothers brought in Joss Whedon, who made significant changes to Justice League, cutting out much of Snyder's intended vision and using reshoots to rework other storylines. The resulting movie was criticised for feeling too much like a poorly made mashup of a disparate director's visions and underperformed at the box office based on expectations for a superhero event film. Fans of Snyder who wanted to see the director's original Justice League movie launched the Release the Snyder Cut campaign, which was encouraged by regular teases from Snyder on the 3-year anniversary of Justice League theatrical release. Fans made a big push to campaign, Warner Brothers for the Snyder Cut. In the end, their efforts paid off, with the director announcing in May that the Justice League Snyder Cut will release on HBO Max in 2021. Since then, Snyder has been hard at work completing his cut and offering even more teasers of what's to come. A previous teaser featured Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman discovering the history of Darkseid, and earlier this week, Snyder teased another clip to be released at this weekend's JusticeCon. Now, a Snyder Cut clip is released. During the spotlight on Zack Snyder panel at JusticeCon, Snyder unveiled a new Justice League Snyder Cut teaser clip, which can be viewed in the video below at the 31.35 minute mark. The short clip features Superman landing and near a garage where Alfred Pennyworth, Jeremy Irons, is working, and walks up to talk to him. The big reveal of the clip is that Cavill's Superman is wearing a black suit, as we've already discussed. It's a kind of weird situation because we've already seen that scene and we've seen Superman wearing blue. So I am a bit perplexed about that. It'd be interesting to find out more. Snyder went on to say that the scene was filmed with Cavill wearing Superman's red and blue suit, and then he changed the colour of in post-production. The director said Warner Brothers wouldn't approve the creation of another costume, and that the studio didn't understand the black suit's role in Superman's resurrection arc. What? I don't know what to say. Let me repeat that. Listen to this. The director said Warner Brothers wouldn't approve the creation of another costume, and that the studio didn't understand the black suit's role in Superman's resurrection arc. I am stunned. In the comics, the black costume is also called the recovery suit because it helps Superman to fully heal after he's been resurrected. So it serves a function in the DC universe. But it wouldn't have been expensive to create, and it wasn't necessary to Superman's story. That may have been why Warner Bros. Opted to not commission another. What? Let me hear what she's saying. Molly, what are you saying? So it serves a function in the DC universe. But if it would have been expensive to create and wasn't necessary to Superman's story, that may have been why Warner Bros. Opted not to commission another costume. Molly, you're trying to play both sides here. Stop it, sweetheart. At the end of the day, right, it was extremely important to the film. We need to see him in the black costume. And for them to refuse and for them to not understand the importance of Superman's black recovery costume says a lot about the old guard at Warner Brothers. Not HBO Max, not Warner Media, not AT&T. We're not talking about them. The old Warner Brothers. And thankfully, they're gone. That's outrageous. While this clip isn't very substantial, no it's not, clocking in under 20 seconds, it certainly gives fans a tease of what's to come in the Justice League Snyder Cut. The Superman black suit is something Snyder started teasing while Justice League was still in production. And seeing it finally released in this clip drives the point home of just how much new footage will be in his cut. Still, some may be disappointed by the shortness of this clip. However, it won't be long until the official Justice League Snyder Cut teaser trailer arrives, as Snyder confirmed it will premiere next month at the DC Fandom event. That trailer is sure to give everyone, both die-hard fans and skeptics, a chance to get a real idea of what's in store with the Justice League Snyder Cut. For now, at least, we've gotten to see Snyder's black suit Superman in this latest clip. I tell you what, I still can't get over that Warner Brothers didn't get the significance of the black recovery costume and how they thought it wasn't worth doing it. Absolutely stunned. Absolutely ridiculous. And you know, some of the stories I used to hear about Warner Brothers and Zack Snyder from fellow Zack Snyder fans, I just didn't believe you. And I apologise because it looks like they were absolutely insane. Yes, baby, we are getting Zack Snyder's Justice League trailer at DC Fandom. And Screen Rant is reporting this in an article. Of course, we already know this, but it's cool to read about it. During the spotlight on Zack Snyder's panel at JusticeCon, Snyder confirmed the Justice League Snyder Cut trailer will release on August 22nd at the DC Fandom virtual event. The director first confirmed the trailer was in the works the same week the cut was officially announced, telling a fan on Vero he was working on it. Then last month, Snyder revealed he'd be at DC Fandom, and many speculated he'd be bringing a trailer, though it wasn't confirmed until now. It makes sense for Snyder to unveil the trailer at DC Fandom, considering the virtual event is being put on for fans and creators to celebrate all things DC. But in a safe way, with the ongoing global pandemic. When San Diego Comic-Con was cancelled earlier this year, the entertainment industry lost one of their biggest stages of the year to announce, promote and celebrate their upcoming projects. Though it may not be a theatrical film, the Justice League Snyder Cut is undoubtedly a beloved project. As such, the Justice League Snyder Cut trailer, releasing next month at DC Fandom, offers HBO Max the chance to promote the film on the biggest stage possible to the fans who would be most excited about it. As for what the trailer will entail, Snyder specifically called it a teaser trailer, so it may be relatively short in length, between 1 to 2 minutes, which is fine. 1 to 2 minutes, that's an epic. That's Titanic, isn't it? Yes, please. HBO Max will no doubt hold a fuller trailer until closer to the project's release. Already, Snyder has released 2 clips from his movie, one of Wonder Woman discovering Darkseid. Most recently, Snyder unveiled a short Justice League Snyder Cut clip featuring Superman's black suit, which he wears after being resurrected. These clips may be included in the trailer, but Snyder's sure to also include plenty of unseen footage as well. Fans will get a chance to see the Justice League Snyder Cut trailer for themselves in a little under a month, and I couldn't be more excited. So yeah, let's try and kind of dig this kind of sandcastle up and try and wonder what we're going to get in this Zack Snyder's Justice League trailer at DC Fandom on August the 22nd. I don't think he's going to post anything spoilery at all. There might be a twist in there. There might be a shock to get us all talking. But I don't think anything's going to be there that's going to really kind of spoil the film for us, if you like. Now, could we see a Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern cameo in the actual trailer? Now, that would be interesting because John Aaron Garza still won't keep quiet about Ryan Reynolds cameoing in this movie. I mean, he said the other guy, the English actor, whose name is it Sam something, who we all thought was playing Hal Jordan. According to John Aaron Garza, that's not true. But we have seen pictures of Sam actually wearing, the costume that he will be wearing, like the army suit or whatever you want to call it, because he's a fighter pilot and that's how he dresses. So look, we just don't know what's going on here. But in terms of the trailer, it's very exciting to see what Zack puts in a 1 or 2 minute trailer. I hope it's 2 minutes, but 1 minute is still really cool of, sequences we've never seen before. We want to see Batfleck. We want to see Wonder Woman. We, of course, want to see Superman. I'm not sure if we're going to get Superman in the trailers, but he's just shown us a short scene of Superman. But don't forget, that's that scene we've seen before as well. So that could be the reason why he showed us that. So yes, very, very interesting stuff, and I just can't wait to see this trailer. As we've already discussed, Zack did confirm that he couldn't tell us if Zack Snyder's Justice League will be in form of TV episodes or in a movie, and Screen Rant are discussing this. Justice League Snyder Cut being a movie or TV show will be confirmed next month. Director Zack Snyder reveals that it will be confirmed whether HBO Max's Justice League will be in movie or series form at next month's DC Fandom. Fans will learn if Zack Snyder's Justice League will be in the form of a film or a series at next month's DC Fandom. Opting to skip this year's San Diego Comic-Con, which is being held virtually due to the coronavirus pandemic, DC fans still have something to look forward to with regard to conventions, as the brand is hosting its own event next month, still happening online. The organisers promise a string of announcements, including some pertinent details about the upcoming Justice League project on HBO Max. I personally think that DC Fandom is so much better and huger than, San Diego Comic-Con at home. I really do. After more than 2 years of release of Snyder Cut movement, Snyder's original version of the 2017 film is officially getting released. The director himself announced it following a watch party of Man of Steel, his 2013 blockbuster movie that introduced Henry Cavill as Superman and kicked off the dceu. There is still a lot of information that is still unknown about the new iteration of Justice League, however, including what format it will be in. Snyder's pitch to Warner Brothers for his Justice League supposedly included episodes and cliffhangers, which we all heard. This is something he seemingly confirmed when he appeared recently at the fan-organised JusticeCon. The director was asked whether the HBO Max project will come as a feature-length film or a miniseries, and rather than dish out that information now, he tells fans to look forward to DC Fandom, where this specific question will be answered. Listen, Zack would have answered it if he could. He can't. Warner Brothers are saying, no, your DC Fandom is massive, Zack. You've got the core amount of juicy stuff that you've got to tell fans. Leave it till then. We're not charging anyone. All you have to do is go to your device and spend all day with other DC fans watching all this. It's brilliant. You will find out at Fandom, Snyder said. But I think I did tell Grace that it was longer than 214 minutes now. Either way, 100% I'll be happy. Look, the truth is, regardless of how it comes out, you'll always be able to watch it in one sitting. Now that's interesting. Shall we go over that again? You will find out at Fandom. But I think I did tell Grace that it was longer than 214 minutes now. Now, before we go any further in rereading this, he's just confirmed that this film is over 214 minutes. That's a lot of film. So I've already said that I've always felt that this will be released in a TV format, but also in a movie format. I think you will get a choice. And I think this is kind of exciting for fans and clever by HBO Max and Snyder, because who isn't going to check out the TV series version, then check out the movie version? I think they're all going to be formats available to you, and also the black and white version. I also feel very quickly they will try and release these on hard copy and digital as well, so you can buy them on streaming apps as well, or buy them on DVD, Blu-ray or 4K. So it's very exciting. Either way, 100% I'll be happy. Look, the truth is, regardless of how it comes out, you'll always be able to watch it in one sitting. So that's very interesting. Of course, does that mean they're going to put out the whole series at once? If it is a series, if it is in TV format, very interesting again. DC fans have a lot to look forward to about DC Fandom. Aside from reportedly additional movie announcements, it's safe to expect new content about their confirmed slate of movies such as Wonder Woman 84, The Suicide Squad and The Batman. And the public has not seen footage from the latter two projects, both of which are slated to release next year. Of course, Snyder fans will also have something to look forward to, despite the new Justice League existing outside of the established DCU continuity. On top of confirming project's format when it hits HBO Max next year, there's also a form of teaser releasing at next month's DC exclusive event, as Snyder teased in his appearance at JusticeCon. While Snyder said that he's open to whatever format his Justice League will be, there are obviously some differences between cutting it as a film and as a series, especially since he wanted to incorporate cliffhangers if it comes out in episodic form. It's also worth asking if there will be a change in runtime, and if so, how much longer will the show format will be. Initial reports suggest that the public might be looking at a 4-hour movie, which he can obviously segment into 4 episodes. Fortunately, fans won't have to wait that long to settle this issue, as Snyder promises that answers are coming at DC Fandom, among other things. Wow. So that's just brilliant, isn't it? As I just said, I don't think it's basically TV format versus movie format. I'm actually kind of interested in the TV format, especially ever since John Aaron Garza kind of did BVS in the TV format with cliffhangers, and I thought he did a really good job. So I would like to see it in that form, but I'd also have liked the choice to be able to watch it as a full movie as well. I'd watch them all, and I think all the fans, I think us fans are nuts enough to watch the TV format, the colour movie format and the black and white format, and I'm up for all of it. Inject it in my veins, baby. And just to finish off today, we're going to read a great article again by Screen Rant and Craig Elvey about Zack Snyder's controversial kind of reputation in the industry, and they're going to rank his films. And this is going to be interesting because I haven't actually read this article. I'm just assuming it's a great article. Every Zack Snyder movie ranked worst to best. This will be interesting, right? Zack Snyder is one of the most discussed, daring and divisive filmmakers of the present day, but which of his directorial efforts ranks highest? Which of Zack Snyder's films are super and which need to be ruthlessly kicked into a pit of endless darkness by Gerard Butler? After a string of successful short films and music videos with the likes of Rod Stewart, ZZ Top, and infamously miserable vocalist of the Smiths, Morrissey's, Zack Snyder made his feature-length directorial debut in 2004 with a remake of George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead. Bursting onto the scene in a hail of blood and gore, Snyder quickly established a kinetic, high-energy style to his films, achieving renown for his distinctive way of emphasizing violence during extended fight scenes. Zack Snyder has enjoyed a varied career encompassing horror, action, CGI animation, and comic book adaptations, but it's his work within the superhero subgenre for which Snyder is best known. Warner Brothers tasked Snyder with reinventing Superman for a modern audience and put the director front and center of their attempt to build a shared universe. The souring of that relationship has been extensively covered, with Snyder's work in Justice League butchered at the hands of studio and replacement director Joss Whedon, resulting in a widespread demand for the fabled Snyder Cut. It's not fabled anymore. It's real. We're going to see. What's wrong with you people? Now confirmed for 2021, Zack Snyder's Justice League is one of the most highly anticipated releases in recent memory, thanks to the groundswell of support that preceded it. Until then, however, Zack Snyder's cinematic back catalogue remains a mixed bag, packed with both modern classics and swiftly forgotten failed experiments. Here's every feature-length Zack Snyder directorial release ranked from worst to best. Number 8, Justice League. Right, hang on a minute. This isn't his film, so F you. As alluded to above, even considering the 2017 version of Justice League, a Zack Snyder movie, is contentious given that what has since transpired. But it's his name in the credits, nevertheless. A bland and a directionless movie that wears its flaws on its sleeve. The theatrical release of Justice League is a far cry from what Snyder intended. The director's plans were already altered by Warner Brothers following the Batman v Superman backlash. But when Snyder was forced to step away from post-production due to a personal tragedy, the weeping changes to a Justice League began in earnest, triggering the release of the Snyder Cut campaign. While Justice League's failings can't be laid at Snyder's door, it's certainly easy to see why fans were disappointed. The characters are shallow, the plot is threadbare, and the CGI is so poor. Henry Cavill's moustache became the subject of intense debate. The seams of hasty editing are completely visible, and a transparent attempt to lighten up makes for an inconsistent tone. Justice League is just about serviceable as a mindless action movie, but should have been exponentially better considering the characters involved. A failure at the box office, Justice League killed the dceu in its original form, but Snyder's role in the film will be reevaluated in 2021. Right, it's not a Zack Snyder film, right? It's a Frankenstein's monster, and they shouldn't have put it in this kind of chart. Never mind. Number 7, Sucker Punch. On paper, 2011 Sucker Punch seemed like a surefire hit for Zack Snyder in the early stages of his Hollywood career. An uber-violent escape movie with a psychological twist, headed up by an all-star cast featuring Emily Browning, Vanessa Hudgens, and Oscar Isaac. Sucker Punch was Snyder's first original feature, and it's easy to see why the project attracted some initial buzz. In the end, Sucker Punch proved to be Snyder's first true big-budget flop, both on critical and commercial level. As a filmmaker, Snyder is often criticised of prioritising intense, in-your-face action over character and plot, and nowhere is that more apparent than Sucker Punch, a film many contemporary reviews despairingly compared to a video game. I ain't got no comment about that. The psychological aspect proves redundant in the hail of violence dominating the runtime, and although some of the visual impressed, this evidently wasn't enough to win over critics or audiences. Sucker Punch also attracted ire for its depiction of women. Snyder claims the film was misunderstood and intended as a satire on how females are viewed in geek culture, but many dismiss Sucker Punch as simply perpetuating the stereotypes and demanding misogyny it was attempting to parody. But this is the era we, of course, live in. We've got to be offended about everything. Who gives a flying crap how women are stereotyped? I don't care. I'm stereotyped on film. I'm a man. I'm stereotyped. Of course, you won't see any Greek Cypriot men on film because they're too busy representing the most represented minority in Hollywood, people of colour. But I don't care how I am stereotyped, right? It doesn't bother me, right? But we've all got to get offended. It's, of course, the 21st century, and we're all insane. Number 6, Batman vs Superman, Dawn of Justice. I can't see how it's so low anyway. Released to much fanfare in 2016, Batman vs Superman, Dawn of Justice was intended to mark the genesis of the DCEU proper, bringing together the fabled trinity of Batman, Superman and Wonder Woman, and setting up a franchise that would continue for years to come, rivaling the success of Marvel's MCU. After a strong start at the box office, Batman vs Superman fortunes dropped severely, ultimately grossing below Warner Brothers' expectations, but reaction from fans and critics was even more damning. The super serious tone, incoherent plot, and infamous Martha. I can't remember watching a film that was incoherent. You must have been watching another film. Scene all came in for significant flack, while Snyder once again stood accused of not paying enough attention to character when there was punching to be done and CGI to be added. Again, this is such a character-driven film. In fact, the first half of the movie has more of dialogue than actual action. So it's a contradictory criticism. If Batman vs Superman does have a sole bright spot, it's Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, who makes an instant impact ahead of her acclaimed 2017 solo adventure. Look, I'm not dissing Gal or Wonder Woman. She's amazing in the film. She's a great Wonder Woman. But that's what they'll go to because she's female. This is what they do. Anyway, also worth noting is how the Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition improves upon the theatrical release, adding a solid half-hour of footage. This director's cut clarifies certain plot elements and offers a generally more cohesive narrative. Number 5. Hang on. Legends of the Guardians is above Batman vs Superman. Screen rant, you're embarrassing yourself. The oddity in Zack Snyder's filmography, Legends of the Guardians of Garhu, released in 2010 and adapted the series of fantasy novels by Catherine Lasky into a CGI animated feature-length film. I actually really like this film. Snyder is well known for tackling deeply ambitious projects, but as a surprisingly dark tale with a cast entirely comprised of digitally created animals, Legends of the Guardians arguably tops the lot, performing modestly at the box office. The critical response was a familiar story for Snyder, with reviews praising the slick animation and individual performances, but showing less enthusiasm for the meatier components of the story and character. Sorry, you're wrong. But where Sucker Punch and Batman vs Superman failed. In their storytelling, Legend of the Guardians merely couldn't match the top draw visuals with an equally impressive plot. Soren's Frodo-esque journey to defeat a terrible evil is standard fantasy fare that saves the bells and whistles for the CGI and stacked voice cast, which includes Helen Mirren, Jeffrey Rush, Hugo Weaving and Sam Neill. As films about owls go, Legend of the Guardians can perhaps consider itself underrated, and although it might have benefited from more refined plot, the film is still a hoot in 2020. It's a good, solid film. Number 4, Man of Steel. So basically, his DC movies are not even in the top 3 of his filmography. It's ridiculous. Fresh from their record-breaking success with Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, Warner Brothers were looking to give Superman the same treatment and hired Zack Snyder to helm their vision for more realistic, grounded interpretation of the American Boy Scout. Well, that's not the true story. Warner Brothers didn't bring in Zack Snyder. Christopher Nolan did. Christopher Nolan and Chris Terrio Christopher Nolan and David Goyer wrote this film. They wrote the story. David Goyer actually wrote the screenplay as well. This is literally his film, right? You know, the story is his. This is his film. This film was put together by Christopher Nolan. It was he who brought in Zack Snyder and wanted Zack to kind of mould this DCEU. Anyway, where are we? Boy Scout. 2013's Man of Steel certainly ticks that box, but succeeds on other levels also. Reinvigorating Supes after the failure of Superman Returns, In 2006, Henry Cavill is perfectly cast as both Superman and Clark Kent, and while he may never escape the shadow of Christopher Reeve, his modern Man of Steel interpretation has plenty of merit regardless. At the risk of sounding repetitive, Man of Steel prioritizes action over heart and personal moments. Not true, but certainly not to the same degree as some other Snyder efforts. And the Clark Kent material that is present works just as well, if not better than the Superman scenes. The physical clashes between Supes and General Zod have a visual flair, even if comic fans did decry the abundance of violence for a hero of Kal-El's moral standing. And Snyder succeeded in crafting a more believable world for DC's most famous son. It speaks volumes that the calls for Man of Steel 2 still resurface 8 years after Cavill's red pants first seemed into view. Wait a minute. He didn't have red pants. Oh, look. Screen rant, you're losing. I'm going to have to start reading from someone else. You're mad. 3. Dawn of the Dead. Horror remakes have been a dime a dozen since the turn of the millennium. But given Dawn of the Dead's iconic status as the paragon of zombie cinema, Zack Snyder faced an uphill battle in modernising the George A. Romero classic for his debut feature. So beloved was the original that Snyder's decision to make his zombies farce remains controversial to this day. But the Dawn of the Dead remake successfully straddles the delicate line between respecting the source material and doing something new compared to the 1978 effort. Snyder's vision is typically amped up, emphasizing violence and action over Romero's smarter subtext and social commentary. Snyder's Dawn of the Dead benefits from this more direct approach, and combined with 25 years of improved special effects, manages to offer scares and entertainment that differ from the original without proving any less effective. By not taking itself entirely seriously, Dawn of the Dead remake avoids the usual pitfalls of horror remakes and leaves viewers breathless at the same time. But those deeply attached to Romero's work are perhaps less likely to enjoy Snyder's reimagining. Not for the first time, the director's style was compared to a video game, but it's interesting that the remake came from Romero himself on this occasion. Visceral, striking, and relentlessly effective in its simplicity, Zack Snyder's 300, number 2 is 300. In its simplicity, Zack Snyder's 300 has taken on somewhat iconic status since premiering in 2006. An extremely close approximation of Frank Miller's graphic novel 300 offers a wonderfully realised cinematic take on fictionalised ancient Greek mythology, and while not the smartest piece ever put to film, what 300 does offer is executes with maximum impact and leaving a lasting impression on a popular culture. 300's unique style put Snyder on the map as a filmmaker, it did, and while detractors will point towards a lack of substance in the face of overwhelming, unapologetic blood and guts, there's beauty in the film's straightforward nature and enough variation to prevent the novelty from wearing off. 300 is not a film that will suit everyone's tastes. It's certainly not something to watch when the grandparents come round or to analyse in depth on a cerebral level, but Snyder gives the tale of King Leonidas an epic sense of scale, a grandeur as well as a viewing experience very few films of its kind can match. The less said about the sequel, the better, but 300 remains spectacular fun for those seeking cinematic adrenaline rush. So number 1 is Watchmen. Now, Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons' celebrated 1980s Watchmen comic was deemed impossible to film for many years after its release, but the story's timeless quality and enduring popularity meant a movie was inevitable as soon as a director brave enough for the challenge could be found. Released in 2009, Snyder's Watchmen movie was predictably divisive, changing the source material's ending, darkening the tone, and stripping down the story. Watchmen might not be a perfect interpretation of the comic, but considered on its own merit, Snyder's DC debut arguably remains his strongest film yet. That's controversial. As a dour take on the superhero genre, Watchmen feels suitably grimy, punctuated by moments of pure visual violence. Snyder's filmmaking traits suit the flawed, tragic characters of Watchmen. Changes proved somewhat controversial. The ending worked far better on the big screen than a giant squid would have. In Watchmen, Snyder found a way to balance his trademark brash, bold storytelling with a more complex narrative beneath the surface, all without compromising any of the maturity or shades of grey captured by Moore's seminal work. Watchmen continues to be a love or hate proposition over a decade later. Zack's got used to that now, isn't he? But for many, it remains the finest example of Zack Snyder balancing his uncompromising style with genuine substance. So, I'm now going to tell you what my top 4 Zack Snyder movies would have been. I'm not going to go down the whole filmography. I can't be bothered. So, what we're going to say, number 4 is 300. Right, number 4 is 300. Number 3 is Man of Steel. I'm looking at a filmmaking standpoint. Man of Steel is amazing, but it's not totally his movie as well. And I love Man of Steel, right? One of my favourite movies ever. Man of Steel, number 3, right? So I'm going to say, what should I do? I'm going to say Watchmen at number 2 and Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice at number 1. And I want your top 4. What would you? Or give me your top 8. I couldn't care less. I want to know how you see Snyder's filmography. So comment down below. Are you excited about Justice Con? Did you like the Snyder panel? Are you enjoying the event? Are you looking forward to DC Fandom? Comment down below. Like, share and subscribe, and I'll be back tomorrow with even more DCEU Daily. See you again soon.